On Frontline today, we put the spotlight on a laboratory technician at the Mamobi Government Hospital who braved the odds and joined his fellow colleagues to take samples of suspected COVID-19 cases when Ghana began recording cases of the disease back then. Roland Serbo tells Hannah Odami how his wife reacted to his decision and how life has been for him since he took the first sample.
Today on Frontline, we are putting the spotlight on lab technicians. They are the ones who take the blood samples of suspected COVID-19 patients to the testing centers for them to ascertain whether it's positive or negative. We are here at the Mamobi Government Hospital to speak to the general manager of the lab services here. Roland, how are you?
I'm good.
Great. Take us through to what you do here.
Okay. This is Mamobi General Hospital,
okay,
and this is our OPD. This is where we normally register our cases. When clients come, they first of all sit down here. We sometimes give them a talk in the morning on COVID-19 and any new thing that happening. So they are registered, and then from there, we usher them to the sample taking place. So at the end of the day, there are some that we have to do microscopic examination, and this is the bench for microscopy that we work on the samples.
Yeah. So from here, where do we go next?
From here, the results will go inside for it to be tabulated. Another one running a full blood count test on a patient. Each patient can be running series of tests, so we do the test in batches.
So prior to COVID-19, you were doing the general lab testing. Do you continue that, or your place is now specifically for COVID-19 suspected cases?
Okay, we still continue with our general routine laboratory test. But what makes us come on board with the COVID-19 is the fact that we were called upon to start taking sample for the clients who had been suspected of having COVID-19. So some of us decided to courageously step forward, and then we were made to take samples at the hotels so that they could be tested at Noguchi. From there, every time there's a suspected case in-house in Mamobi General Hospital, the client is confined at a specific location, and we are called upon to take sample to be sent to Noguchi for it to be tested.
Can you readily remember the number of positives you have seen?
Actually, there have been some positive, but I can't really remember. I have to go through the data to be able to remember. I think it is part of the national data that you people are hearing.
And in your statement, you said courageously stood out to be part of the national team taking the samples. How has this, how did you decide to do that?
Well, psychologically, I might say that this is a good opportunity to speak about this. Initially, when my wife got to know that I have stepped forward to take sample, she was very, very much disturbed, because all the things we are seeing on telly, Italy and other countries, people dying, she was like, why will you do that? So I had to psychologically psych her up that this is my profession. And the day I decided it was simple. If I don't do it, then who will do it? And if we don't do it, and the client or the patient or the suspected cases get into the community, and the community spread becomes so much, and people are infected, then I have failed as a medical lab scientist. So that was what informed me to step forward and put my life on the line. And wearing those jackets wasn't easy. You could sweat. You could see that you are sweating. Water will be dripping out of you. And you have to do it until you are done with every case.
So looking back now, what is your assessment of what you did, that decision you took?
I am very, very happy. I'm very glad I took that bold decision, because I can say that what I did is part of the nation being mentioned elsewhere internationally. My small contribution has really helped to identify those who are at risk or those who are positive so that they can be taken out of the population.
Okay. So you do take samples to Noguchi, right?
Yes.
Where exactly do you take the samples?
We take the sample at the restricted area.
The triage.
The triage.
Okay, I saw some
Yes, please. So you could see that there's a tent there. So when there's a suspected person, the person is kept there. So we go in there to take the sample. So that's how it has been.
So knowing that such a person that you have isolated to have his or her samples taken to Noguchi, that person may already be going through some anxiety. When you are taking the swab and you are doing all of that, do you have a chat with them? How do you take them through so that it is a smooth process for the patient?
Yes, that is one thing. In the taking of the sample, you need to add a little bit of humor to it. You don't just go and say that, hey, get up, I want to take your throat swab, and then you start putting things there. You have to console the person. Oh, madam, I'm coming to take your sample. I'm going to use this to take a throat swab. It's not going to be that painful. I'm a professional, so I'll do it in such a way that you're not going to go through anything like vomiting. Trust me. I build confidence with the clients. So at the end of the day, there is a small smile. There was one lady at the ward when I was going to take the sample. She said she will not allow anybody to take the sample. Then I asked the mother, is she the last born? The mother said, yes. I said, you brought a last born here and you didn't tell us to pamper her. Everybody stop disturbing her. I'm going to buy toffee for her. I'll make sure. She was an ugly person. I'll make sure. Then I told her, please don't mind anybody who is not trying to treat you well. Then I just went down to talk to her gradually. Then I realized that with time she was responding and we were able to take the sample. Those are some of the things we do just to win them for the sample to be taken.
So has your wife gradually accepted what you are doing so far, and how is she dealing with you in the house? Does she still come close?
In fact, not yet. It's such that she's also educated, so it's like, you doing this, can you stay a little bit? Can you practice the social distance
in the house?
Distances in the house. Make sure you don't come too close. The moment you try to clear your throat, please. So, but on a lighter note, it has been a worth journey going, and she has been there to support me in everything I do.
So
yes.
Are the children there?
Yes, so I have two kids, a girl and a boy.
And how are the children also warmed up to what Daddy is doing?
Surprisingly, they listen to the news all the time. So they give me updates. So they sometimes lecture, when you come from work, they tell you that, Daddy, you are not supposed to come into the house without changing. So please go and change and bath before we can touch. So they will tell you even before you come into the house. So I think with that, we have a good rapport.
Okay, so yes. Then if you don't mind, mention their names and say whatever you want to tell them.
Wow, my boy is Elon Brian Strigbo. My girl is Kiba Eram Strigbo, and my wife is Rita Strigbo. I just want to tell them that it wouldn't have been okay without them. I cherish them, and it is them that give me strength to carry on. And for the support they are giving me, I say thank you to them.
Okay. Yeah. Based on that, can you tell us how your life has changed with regards to COVID-19 and you stepping up to be one of those who take the samples?
My life has changed. One of the changes I've realized is that I have gone to a level of where people do not want to get to. So after taking those samples at the hotels and other places, it has really boosted my confidence. Now, every time I'm seeing a COVID-19 patient, I don't see them to be a threat. All I need to do is to be well prepared. My dressing should be on point. I should be safety-wise prepared. And then I know that I'm good to go. So they don't really post, because initially the first sample I took, I was really judged. It wasn't easy.
After 14 days,
I'm telling you, I was still checking. I had to check my COVID test. And when the test came and he said negative, I'm like, wow, thank you, God. So I think it has been a booster, and it has taken me to another level in my practice.
I realize that you work with a very formidable team here. You kept mentioning them. What would you say to your team members too?
My team members, where are they? Please come. Please come. Please come.
And there they are, coming from their holes.
This is Victoria.
Okay, great. So tell me a little about COVID-19 and how it's also made you change what you do differently.
Yeah, things have changed a bit, because now our dressing and everything has changed. Yeah.
Are you afraid?
At first I was, but now not anymore.
Hello, Aisha. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for what you are doing. Have you also gone outside there to take any samples yet?
Not yet, not yet.
You see your colleagues go and come. Do you move away from them when they come?
Not at all. At least we give them moral support.
Lydia goes to the community to take some samples. And Lydia, yes. How many have you taken so far?
I can't count. Yeah, many. Yeah, quite a lot.
At the point where you are taking a sample and to the end, what goes through your mind, you know?
Oh, nothing really, because when I'm taking the sample, I make sure I wear my PPEs all the time. So I'm taking care of myself and I take the sample knowing that I'm helping the person, because we are doing the test to help the person.
So describe yourself in one way as you help this national cause.
Proud that I've been taken as one of the frontliners, helping the people.
COVID-19 is real. Stay safe, stay home. We are proud of Sunday.
Very transforming piece of work put together by Hannah Odami. Thank you to all of you once again.